Back to Harvard. We're continuing to follow the stunning news tonight that President Trump has admitted now tonight that he's willing to take opposition research dirt from a foreign country, well, like Russia. And there's more breaking news tonight. Hope Hicks, a former top aide to the president at the White House and in the campaign, has now agreed to testify before the House Judiciary Committee behind closed doors, of course, also with a lawyer from the White House there. That's a day after Trump plans to formally announce his re-election campaign. That's next Tuesday. She testifies Wednesday. By the way, tonight, the Washington Post is characterizing the Hope Hicks development, her testifying, as a significant breakthrough for the Judiciary Committee, which has struggled, of course, to enforce the subpoenas. But the report notes that Hicks might not answer many of the panel's questions, citing the president's assertion, as I said before, of executive privilege on events that occurred inside the White House. According to a person familiar with this deal about her testifying, a member of the White House's counsel's office will be present for her testimony. Hicks left her job at the White House in February of last year, just 2 days after she testified. She occasionally told white lies for the president. Back with me are former federal prosecutor Cynthia Alksne, Jason Johnson from theroot.com, and Susan Del Percio, Republican strategist. Susan, admitting you told white lies is probably a mistake, but I guess it accomplishes something in terms of your moral happiness. But when you say you tell white lies, that's a big door that's open there, because were these conversations about dirt from the Russians, or were they about adopting Russian kids by Americans? It seems they were about getting dirt on Hillary Clinton. And now saying white lies carries a different message than it did 24 hours ago.
Yeah, define white lies. How big is it? And she opens herself to questions on that. What's also interesting is I think she's actually testifying because of the company she works for. She works for Fox. They have shareholders. They just took off over Disney, the happiest place on earth. They do not want their top comms person being charged with contempt. And that's what she was facing. And I think that she was in a real personal bind. She knows Donald Trump very well. She knows that he will be there for her to a point. And then he will cut and run and hurt her if he had to. So she's got to protect herself because she can't expect loyalty from him.
Susan, you think just like I thought today, and I thought like this. Same thing happened to Larry Speaks when he went to a private firm and became part of his story. You don't want to be part of his story. You don't want to be. You're in charge of PR. Your job is not to be the PR problem. Right, Jason?
Look,
now we have her coming up to testify next with the help of a White House lawyer. Being asked first question, the president says it's okay to take dirt from the Russians. Was he like that when you were with him? Was that his attitude?
And she'll give some sort of vague answer one way or another. People have been treating Hope Hicks with kid gloves from the very beginning. She is just as dirty and just as involved in all of this as everybody else. And the feckless Democrats on the Judiciary Committee, who don't seem to realize that having her out publicly is the only way that her testimony has any value, are allowing the White House to do what they always do, which is obfuscate and lie and hide and pretend. I don't see any value in having her come in and testify, and not to insult the previous congressman, but you can't call this a victory. It is not a victory if it's hidden behind closed doors, and that's exactly what's happening with Don Jr., and now they're doing it with Hope Hicks.
I get the sense that Hope was one of those few insiders that he's never broken with. He breaks with everybody else.
Right.
She's still an insider.
She's still an insider, but now we know the Judiciary Committee does have the FBI 302s, which could make it interesting.
Tell me
An FBI 302 are the witness interview notes. So the Judiciary Committee is getting those notes. They'll have them on Hope Hicks. So that's good. That is something of a victory. But I don't think there's any question that what happens is she comes in, she knows she doesn't have immunity not to show up. She has a good lawyer, the former United States attorney from Baltimore. He comes in, they sit down, and the minute they ask her a question of any value, she takes executive privilege. This is not a victory.
Ms. Hicks, here's my question. The President of the United States says it's okay to take oppo research on a political opponent from a foreign power. Was that your understanding of his attitude when you worked for him?
Nobody would like to help you more than this Lieutenant Colonel, but I am incapable of responding because of executive privilege. I mean, it's like the Oliver North. It's like the beautiful Oliver North.
Susan, you think she can get away with just saying, I don't know nothing?
No, she'll take executive privilege.
Well, and I just wonder, though, because I don't think executive privilege will extend to the trips that she took with him after she left. If you recall, she was on Air Force One. There were several meetings after that as everything was bubbling with Mueller. So I don't think she's exempt from that. conversations.
Executive privilege does not apply. This has to do with what happened during the campaign, but that doesn't stop the White House, and it gums up the whole process.
I don't think we've had a headline like this, I'm sorry, in a long time. We've been plodding away and probing and trying to find out what the president thought. The prosecutor, a fine man, Robert Mueller, has been trying to get motive, trying to figure out what was the president thinking all the time. And George Stephanopoulos, with a bit of disarming reporting tonight, got the president of the United States right there with the cameras rolling to say there's nothing wrong with what we did. It was an astounding, it's a 2-year investigation by Mueller, and we got more heart of this story. The president tells us it's not just if I did it, it's okay. He said it's okay. It's okay. He asked him a number of times. It's okay to take political oppo, as he called it, from a foreign government, which is the very heart of this thing. In other words, it's okay for a not innocent foreign government, Vladimir Putin's government, to give you stuff so you'll be on the hook.
And I'll do it again.
Right.
Thank you. Cynthia Alksne, Jason Johnson, and Susan Del Percio. Susan, thank you so much. We're staying on top of this story, break-in story. President Trump says he's willing to accept the help coming into 2020 from a foreign government. He wants to win again the same way.